Good afternoon to you all, and welcome to CONFASSOCIAZIONI UK virtual lounge to explore the topic Bleisure, the future of business and leisure travel in the new post-pandemic era. An event organized by CONFASSOCIAZIONI UK in collaboration with Lumina Associate International, a representation, sales and development company within the MICE travel and logistic industry. I am Alessandra Harrison, Director of Lumina Associate International, and I will be the moderator of today's virtual lounge discussions. I would like to start by extending my thanks to our esteemed guests here, James Morgan, Marjolaine DIOGO da Silva, and Palmiro NOSCHESE, that join us today. Shortly, I will introduce them individually, but first, I would like to express many thanks to CONFASSOCIAZIONI President Angelo Deiana in Italy, and to Stefano POTORTI, President of CONFASSOCIAZIONI UK, with us today. Stefano will now present CONFASSOCIAZIONI UK. Stefano, over to you.
Thank you very much. I'm very excited to be here with all these very distinguished speakers to discuss something that is very important, especially in those days. Tourism has been affected massively by the pandemic. I think it's important now to look at the new scenarios, at the new opportunities, and try to figure out what's going to happen in the upcoming months to give a boost to this sector that is important to so many countries and is essential for a restart. So I'm not going to take any more minutes, and I leave the stage to you, Alessandra, our speakers.
Thank you very much, Stefano. Please allow me as well to extend thanks to Laura Croce, CONFASSOCIAZIONI UK Executive Secretariat, for her support during the event organization. I'm very honored to have been offered the opportunity to organize this virtual conference with CONFASSOCIAZIONI UK. And seems just yesterday that Stefano and I discussed about the event title. A title that raised some questions such, what is bleisure? What is the meaning of the word? What actually characterizes a bleisure travel? I will briefly explain what this all means. Bleisure is a neologism formed by the union of the word business and leisure, and therefore identifies the combination of work and leisure time. In particular, it indicates the practice of indulging in moments of relaxation during the business trip. The spread of bleisure is a fairly recent practice that has started to expand since 2011 and continually to grow steadily. It entails to take advantages of the weekend to combine a short vacation with a business trip at the start or at the end of the trip. Bleisure has got many advantages. In fact, encouraging employees to add a few days of relaxation at the beginning or at the end of the trip have positive effect, not only for the worker himself, but also for the company. We will have more advantages explained from our speakers here. So without further ado, I would like to present our distinguished speaker, an internationally renowned personality within the MICE, hotelier and travel industry, coming here together today to talk about bleisure. A warm welcome to Dr. James Morgan, Dean of International Tourism and Hospitality College in Riyadh, Saudi Arabia, and curriculum leader at HEART, Hospitality, Events, Art, Retail, and Tourism Institute at Lincoln College, UK. Welcome, James.
Thank you.
Thank you for being with us today.
Sure.
A warm welcome also to Mrs. Marjolaine DIOGO da Silva, DMP, Managing Partner of Forum de Ideias, PCO and DMC company in Portugal, and Vice President of MPI Portugal in the MPI Iberian chapter. Welcome, Marjolaine.
Thank you very much for the invitation. Welcome, everybody. I'm very happy to be here.
Thank you for being with us today. And last but not least, a great welcome to Cavalier Palmiro NOSCHESE, President of Confassociazioni Tourism, Hospitality, Food and Beverage, and also Senior Advisor and Business Developer of LER SPR. Welcome, Palmiro.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much for the invitation. Big pleasure to meet you here today. Thank you.
Thank you for being with us today. So to start off our debate, I would like to ask the first question to Dr. James Morgan. James, explain how become a Bleisure travel and what determines the choices taken when designing a travel plan experience.
I think that Bleisure is more about a state of mind than just a specific time. You know, traditionally Bleisure is, as you say, you know, something you might do before a conference or a meeting and then afterwards. But I think that that line's a lot more blurry because the way we consume experiences now can be rather, you know, relaxation. You can go and relax by going to the cinema for 3 hours, or you can relax at the beach for a weekend. You know, there's all those kinds of possibilities. So, I mean, from my personal experience, Bleisure for me had been much more of a flexible kind of approach. And yes, I'd love adding on a couple of days at the end, especially rather than at the beginning. But also during, and you know, going to a trade show, there might be nothing on day 2 of the conference program I want to see, but I want to be there day 1 and 3, so I could spend the day doing something at the destination. And I think when designing these kinds of experiences, I think that's what people need to bear in mind is about, you know, when the times are available to do stuff. You know, take an association conference, it might be a 3-day conference, for example, but, you know, maybe there's a chance to design in a community day at the end and try and get, you know, sponsorship to fund more stays at the end of the conference, you know, over the space of a week, a block booking at a hotel, for example. So, yeah, I mean, I think that Bleisure is a very, very common practice now with most business people when they're traveling, whether they're having Bleisure for a barbershop visit and a nice immersive experience with a hair wash and a shave, which is very relaxing, to the 2 days at the beach or, you know, walking up a mountain.
Very good. Thank you very much. To follow, I would like to ask the second question to Marjolaine. How to make a win-win scenario for your business, and what are the key strategies to implement a Bleisure angle to traveling?
Well, I think you were saying that Bleisure was more starting at 2011. Well, I'm a living example that Bleisure started very, very long time ago. In mid-90s, 80s, I was working for a Japanese agency, and it was a worldwide agency, and we were invited to go to Japan to have meetings with the colleagues we were working on a daily basis. And the company immediately said, we're paying your flight ticket. You can add days of your holidays, either prior or before. So that was already my first example of Bleisure. Of course, in conferences, we have for a long time partners program built in the conferences. And I think they should still be built in, because people will need to have some leisure. As James so well said in the conference, if you're going to a destination, you will want to see something. I think for associations, they will have to provide some value for the participants. When we came in 1999 here to Portugal, my husband was Portuguese. I said to him, I said, listen, technically I can organize a conference anywhere in the world. I have the technical skill. but I want to know what the country can offer in culture, in experiences, the food, the wine. I said, take me on a trip. I want to see Portugal through your eyes. I want to see it from the local point of view. And I was astounded to what Portugal has to offer. But I know Italy is the same, and the UK has other experiences. And it started right from the beginning when we set up our company, first as a PCO, and then we added the DMC element to incorporate the experiences. It's, if you have a participant who doesn't want to stay 3 days inside a meeting room, he wants to go out, even if he brings just his partner. And I think I'm saying this here to associations. You are making your learning program, which has to be your point of value to the participant. Give the participant a little bit of time that he can enjoy a little bit of the destination where he is, and do that guilt-free, and not be able to going through the conference program and I say, oh, if I go and visit this museum, then, or I'm going to join this trip that I want to see, which I've never done in my country, he feels guilty because he's going to miss the session. I think this all has to come together. It's associations have to bring value to the participant. The participant will feel valued, that the association is actually giving him this opportunity. And I think post-COVID, this is very, very important. People are valuing the little things, which pre-COVID, they were taking for granted. So I think it's a win-win situation for all. Of course, the destination is already winning if the association chose the destination for their conference. You have the local community, which is winning because participants, whatever, will spend within the destination. But I think what associations have been struggling so much in the past 18 to 19 months is keeping their members. So I think we have to provide value for your members, which are your participants, so that they'll be loyal to you and stay members, and they can bring in references. If you provide good experiences to them, they will reference your conference. And this will be an added value and a win-win point also for the association.
Yes, totally agree. Thank you, Marjolaine. That's a very good point. It's important to create, obviously, the emotional attachment between what is the business and what is the leisure, and connect all of these things together when we have this type of business trip that then falling into a leisure trip. And it is important to create them to then also bring some value to the whole experience that we are going to have from all sorts of point of view, which brings me to ask Palmiro, in this post-pandemic era, as Marjolaine just added in within her comments, company policy, teams in constant changes, disruption to working hours, places of works, and job description. What, in your opinion, are the future challenges in the team management?
Thank you very much for this question, because it's a very important question, because the people management, I think before was the most important thing to do. Probably after the pandemic is more important, is in the middle of the management team. Management team has been a challenge for any leader, from my point of view, in every field. It still is and will always be. Deep knowledge and know-how in teaching and training. With your permission, I would like to suggest to everybody mentoring, and to be a very good mentor for the young generation in this moment, because of course we can also learn a lot from the young people. ability in managing tasks and in distributing them among the team members, responsibility in supervising and in reporting to the board of directors, and the power of example. I think that this is a very key point. For a director, for a manager that has got power to take decision, must be always a very good example to become a reference point to look up to. This is, for me, is the most important, sorry, probably losing the line for a second. Yes, okay. But for me, this is the most important thing that a manager or director they can do. And last but not least, we need to understand well what is the future of the social. The social, in this moment, there are something of new, especially for people that they are for other generation. We cannot delegate completely to the young generation this, but my suggestion in terms of leadership, we need to maintain a leadership also in all the world of the social management, that in this moment is a key words for everybody and for every company, and also for every hospitality and food and beverage things, because is part of our business, from my point of view. Thank you.
Thank you so much for this insight. Certainly, we discussed a little earlier between us about social. We'll come back to that perhaps towards the end of the event, and how the impact as well on social, and how all of the virtual changes from face-to-face to social to virtual webinar, and all of these changes provoked by an unfortunate pandemic obviously has changed the way in which we all interact together, and the level of importance of what it was before a business trip, a face-to-face, is now obviously weighed by different factors. When a manager and a management needs to decide, shall I send someone for a business trip, for a leisure trip, a bleisure trip, or shall I do a virtual, a hybrid, etc. So there are many factors that management needs to take in considerations nowadays.
Yeah, you cannot take a lot of decision. You cannot managing people if you don't know what is where is the world is going in this moment. For this, I agree, and I suggest to try to learn something about this. I think that is not easy for everybody of us, but we need to try, because our experience to the service of the young generation, our experience to the service of the social marketing, and also from a digital point of view, I think that is a very, very good point, but must be on the middle.
Very good, very good. Thank you, Palmiro. James, in this scenario that Palmiro's just gave up to us, after months of house fever, the global hunger for wide open spaces will obviously affect business travel destination choices and leisure tourism's behavioral attitudes. What is your opinion on that?
I mean, in terms of general tourism, you have to think about different types of tourists. So it doesn't matter if somebody's a business traveler or a leisure traveler, but in terms of two psychological points, what we call psychocentrics and allocentrics, each end of a scale with the allocentrics being wanting adventure and excitement, and they'll backpack anywhere in the world, to the psychocentrics that are very much they very much like everything to be organized, an itinerary, a pickup, a drop off. And so what you have are these two polars, and then people fit into that anywhere along that line. So I personally am sort of halfway between the two. I like a bit of organization, but I also like the adventure bit of like going, yeah, I'm going to walk the streets and see what happens. And then, you know, it depends on just in marketing, as we look at different personas to design our experiences, or the way we communicate our products. You know, those personas are really important. So with tourism, you have that extra, what we would call psychometric measurement of the tourism types added into that. And that's the same with events, people going to events as well. So I think that, yes, people do want to get out, and I think they're going to return to the similar kind of habits they had before. I don't see any big, great changes to the tourism industry as such, besides the fact, you know, they're putting a couple of space tourists up every month or so. That's the only thing that's going to be really different. But, you know, from where I'm sitting in Riyadh, what we've got at the moment, we've got the government investing $7 trillion in the tourism and hospitality industries. Now, you know, new destinations are going to come online all the time, and at a scale, probably I would say the scale of destination development in Saudi Arabia is so huge, so massive. You know, 4 world-class resorts bigger than Dubai being created, you know, all within the next 5 years. So, you know, these new destinations are coming up. Some of them will be able to host large conferences. You know, we have the Apex conference, Congress Center in Riyadh. We've got the, you know, the Riyadh International Exhibition Center. You know, they already have venues of scale, but they're building more. So, you know, that's a choice probably that more the adventure type Bleisure travelers might want to try, you know. But, you know, at the end of the day, everybody's got health concerns. They've got security concerns. They've also got ethical concerns as well. So, you know, the psychoanalytics for the type of persona you're trying to design for is very, very important. So what do they prefer? What are their likes? What are their dislikes? Are they adventurers? Are they not adventurers? And then, you know, whether or not there's a fear for outdoor spaces, you have to go back to your question. What kind of outdoor space? Are you talking the middle of a jungle with lots of tigers roaming around? Or are you talking about a nice park with gardens and flowers? So, you know, that's taking into account the personas.
I think also in the question, it will look up more to the angle as well of what the COVID situation has created in all of the tourist industry sectors and mindset, I would say, because obviously the open spaces and are what we've been told in the last 2 years are the safest places for us. So that it was, in my opinion, is important when organizing any travel, which that is for business or for leisure. We need to take in consideration this new mindset that the pandemic has created on us. How was
I agree with that. And I think at the same time, if you look at destinations like in particularly Asia, that's dealt with the pandemic quite well, you already know that they've had, you know, experiences of similar kinds of diseases, respiratory diseases. And so they were much better set up to deal with it than we were in Europe. And, you know, you see lower case numbers. They already take precautions in terms of safety. So, you know, maybe it's a European mindset and maybe a North American mindset that you're talking about more so. But I think that, yeah, you know, COVID's another risk. It's a safety risk for any tourist, whether it's walking on the street in a destination you don't think's very safe from a violence point of view to health safety. You know, it's always one of those things. And again, it comes back to the type of the traveler. If we're talking about designing for particular people, you know, when it does come to Bleisure and DMOs and people designing, it's always looking at flexibilities and programs. So, you know, whilst you might design in a Bleisure day into the middle of a program or at the end of a program, which, you know, a lot of people do for associations. I think flexibility is key, and I think the other thing is so relevance is key, because you see a lot of associations do design in Bleisure days into a program, and it's very much going to see something related to industry or see something related to culture, which is great. You know, I like that. But I think that not everybody's happy, and the more we can personalize or at least aggregate the audience and say you've got choice A, B, or C, and show more flexibility from that point of view, I think the DMOs could sell a lot more Bleisure, you know, itineraries or activities into their association conferences.
And just to carry on that, I'll add a little question to what you just said. What is your take on adding, still within the Bleisure, the family part of?
Oh,
the
definitely. Definitely. I think that, you know, the delegate guest or delegate partner or whatever program, I think that used to be very popular, and it's kind of waned in recent years because companies weren't prepared to pay for it. But I think that actually the organizers doing themselves a disfavor, because, you know, at the end of the day, associations don't have a lot of money and they can't really afford, but they can afford to put together packages. They can afford, you know, to actually plan things out. Although the partner would still pay, or the family would still pay for those activities, there's certainly could be a menu of items that people could add as a, you know, if somebody's staying in a hotel room by themselves, what's the difference of having another person in that hotel room? You know, it's a no-brainer, really. From the hotel's point of view, you know, it means more will be spent on the bar. You know, 2 people spend on the bar and the restaurant and the other services more than, you know, than a single person. So, you know, I mean, there are little nuggets in there that you can start exploring.
Sure, and emotionally is very important, like we said before, emotionally is important as well for the delegates to have the family around in some cases when possible, to then enjoy some part of his business trip that originally and many years ago was fundamentally just go to the business trip and back, and never had the opportunity or even the time to perhaps visit the city or enjoy what the culture could offer and learn about the culture itself. And that many years ago, that was obviously something that was not so common like it has become nowadays with the Bleisure, and as well with the leisure within the company's policies, let's put it that way.
Mm-hmm.
Very well. So thank you, James. Totally agree with all of this beautiful insight. And certainly the MICE industries after the COVID has had a different approach and shift, and more, I believe we are becoming, or we will be more becoming a more conscientious traveler, and we will think more before travel how to invest our time and how to deal with the side of the organization of the trip, like you just mentioned before. So thank you for that. So based on these new choices and trends of tourism, Marjolaine, do you think that ecotourism and wellness will have a bigger impact on consumer choices?
Oh, I definitely do. And just to pitch in what James just mentioned, I think that it's of the utmost importance that when we choose a venue for a conference, to make sure that there is availability for rooms for families, because COVID has given so much strain on each and every one of us that we now need to heal. So there will be delegates who are willing, fair enough, to leave their family home. But have to remember, the 18, 19 months, they will be able to have breakfast with the family, go to work, have lunch with the family, go to work, or even do a conference virtual, and then have dinner again with the family. I am not sure that all participants, that everybody is ready to go back completely the way it used to be before. Apart from even what we said before, that there will be, I'm sure that hybrid meetings will be there to stay. So that is, but I'm talking for the participants on site. I'm sure that they want to have the business and the leisure to be able to join the family and enjoy a little bit of the destination that they are. I think that it's another point. It's a very good point that James put on. Now, ecotourism, I think we're talking about tourism in eco resorts, which has already existed in Portugal for many years, and we can talk ecological, which I guess you meant sustainability. Now, eco resorts in Portugal, they are full in nature. So I think people are longing for nature. At least that is in my opinion. Our office, actually, we're south of Lisbon. We're just 15 minutes away from one of the 10 national parks in Portugal, the Rábida National Parks. So I think that it's very important to include nature also into the leisure programs. As what you said, partner programs, they can be some packages and they have to be flexible. You have to be able to ask your PCO or DMC, whoever is working with the association, to prepare a variety of options. And then if we're talking technological, I don't think that there's anymore a conference that does not have an app. So even on the application, the PCO, the DMC should be giving you enough information, or even the PCO will do it for you. Include and mention what is there to do within the city that you are or surrounding the city that you are. And also what you can do pre and post. So yes, definitely, I think nature is one of the points. Then in a partner program, if you don't want to do, you can do an ecological sightseeing. I mean, we still have the tuk-tuks who are fully electric. I mean, that was already pre-COVID. They will continue. But in every destination, I'm sure, at least I know that for Portugal, none of the experienced companies have been just laying back. No, they've all been thinking, what can we now propose to the conference participants to have new experience also related on well-being? You're mentioning wellness. I think wellness is more for a pre or a post stay, because if you want to go really for a wellness treatment, you need a couple of days, because you have to go, you have to see their doctor, you have to see a nutritionist, and you have to do, you know, it's a whole program that you're going through. But ecotourism, yes, that you can have, of sure, in nature. Now, if we're talking sustainability, then of course, I mean, James is mentioning DMOs. I think it's not only the DMOs, I think it's the country itself. You have the National Tourist Board. should be able to be saying what kind of steps are starting to be implemented in inside the country. Then the DMOs and the convention bureaus, as we call them here in Europe, they should also say what steps are being implemented in the city. Then we go through, then you have to start checking the conference centers and the conference hotels. What steps do they implement? And I think then it's up to the associations itself. What kind of steps can you implement into the conference to make the organization more sustainable? I think a participant or a traveler at this moment through COVID is much more aware that each and every one of us has to do something, even if it's just one little step. But it's necessary. And then again, if an association can show to the participant that they're also valuing the sustainability at the events, I think that that's again a plus point, both for the organization, for the participant, and for the destination, because they've highlighted, okay, we have chosen your destination because you've implemented already things. I think it's a whole roller coaster that has to go around. And I think it's us inside the tourism organizations that we have to spread this world. We have to work on our world for our children, for the younger generation who are just, you know, who Palmiro was saying they're on social media. But I think we also have to teach them that there is nature. We have to prevent nature, that it's still there for us to appreciate and to be able to enjoy it. So I think that it's a very big point, ecological speaking.
Very well, thank you very much. I'm very agree with you. We have to keep in mind all of the options, and certainly sustainability is one of the biggest issues that we need to look after at the moment, and we need to make sure we all try to do our bit for continuing to develop on sustainability, even within our conference, and try to find ways to, within the business travel, the leisure travel, the conference, all of the events needs to come up with solutions that are going to be more sustainable. And coming back just before our set of questions, James was mentioning before about how much and how is invested in Riyadh at the moment, and how many new venues are going to be opening. What's the take on that sustainability?
I'll give you one example. One of the projects, it's 3 trillion, is called NEOM, N-E-O-M. And this is building a smart city for the future, which also will have a lot of tourism and hospitality included in that smart city. It's going to be carbon less than neutral. All the power generated for that city will be from renewable energy. I mean, the entire ecological plan is all to do with saving carbon rather than losing carbon. So I think that this is probably a world-class case study in, you would call it city design from the ground up, of creating an entire new city in the northwest of the country. And if anybody wants to have a look, you just do a search, NEOM, Saudi Arabia, and you'll be incredibly amazed by what they're doing there. So throughout the kingdom, we also see, you know, it's a desert, and there's a whole policy on greening the country, planting more trees and plants and things like that. Sustainability has been designed into all the other projects, the new building regulations. So, I mean, Saudi Arabia is pretty committed to the sustainable development goals, very much being a signatory to that. So I would say that their credentials are very good because they have to balance that off against, you know, being the second largest oil producer in the world. So they're obviously taking that responsibility, and the move from the reliance on oil through to new forms of economic activity, i.e. the tourism and hospitality development. I mean, Riyadh as a city is going to be probably 20 million in 10 years' time, with the amount of migration and development that's going on in that city. It's a city of money. It's a city of opportunity. It's growing every single day. So the 7 trillion that I talked about, that's throughout the kingdom for different projects. But then also, for example, young graduates that finish university or college can take a government loan of about £60,000, I suppose 70,000 euros to start a business. And, you know, there's schemes like that. So very much a lot of development there. And in terms of sustainability, there's always this encouragement to do that as part of the equation in economic activity.
Thank you, James. Thanks for expanding on that. Palmiro, going back to you, how important do you think within all of these scenarios and changes, like we mentioned before, how important is a good team leader to balance the different emotion in a team to then ultimately provide a unique customer experience?
Thank you for the question. I would like to come back to Marjolaine. That is, I totally agree with her. No, we need also to push our young generation to look outside of the window and also outside from the social media. And agree with this. I would like to share with you my vision regarding the future of society and organization require a shift of mindset and culture. Probably the leader of the future must process to courage to drive sustainability to the heart of the business strategy. This is the key, because we need to understand that the humility to listen to employee and also customer for to create a vision to develop and empower their next generation's leaders. This is the key. Our future leaders must be in the DNA, the corporate social responsibility. This is very important. We need to leave something to the others. Come back to your question, I think that is very, very important adapting communication to the several characters, knowing the background for each team member. I think that is very, very important, understanding what is behind the smile, as well as sad eyes. We need to be also psychologists, probably, I don't know, but probably yes, making everyone feel important in their role. For the people that they stay to the washing up, probably they are very, very important. We need to listen them. We need not only listen the people that stay on the front line, that say to us what we want to listen. We need to listen also what we don't want to listen. Empathy is the key word when managing a team, no matter the size. I would like to encourage to explore and discuss how to accelerate your own sustainability agenda, because sometimes this word of sustainability and the corporate social responsibility, ESG, my thinking, they are a very good slogan, but we need be more execution in this. We need to understand well what is and what we can do, and we need to plan in the agenda. For find sustainable leader, you need delivery, listen, value for people, for to make a better planet, and also for to have better profit. This is my point of view, and I would like to share with you. Thank you.
Thank you, Palmiro. Yes, that's true. The management, it's very, very important. And also during the pandemic, there was a shift or responsibility within a team. People that were not used to do things suddenly had to do new jobs or have new position assigned to them.
New role, also new role.
role.
No, new role, new competence. Probably we need. No, for the example in the food and beverage management, probably we need to have a very good people that know about the food and wine, but in the same time, a very good people that knows very well the ingredient that they are for to make a good plate, a good food, because we know that today there are also new illness that we have, no, and a new allergy, and the people must be very, very well trained on this.
Thank you. This is all for today. I can see Stefano coming on to our screen. So thank you for participating to the virtual lounge debate. I hope.
I have a question to interrupt you, Alessandra. I have a question
Yeah.
for Palmiro. I mean, it was a very interesting and very exciting topic, and I'm quite obsessed with the young generation, old generation, and how we should communicate with each other. So going back to what Palmiro said before, I have a question for him. How do you see the communication between new generation and old generation, especially in hospitality, which is a field where the human factor is extremely important compared to other sectors?
I think, as I say in my first answering, that we need to learn from them, because probably we are not old in the mind, but probably we are old a little in the process. Today, after the effect of the pandemic, more respectively before, but the young generation, from my point of view, they are more concrete, and we need to understand and to speak with them for to understand. And sometimes we need to learn what they want. I remember when my son was very, very young, I have started to send to them some WhatsApp some years ago, but because probably with the WhatsApp sometimes it was more easy for me to connect with them and to stay in touch. But I want again come back to Marjolaine say, I don't know if I pronounce well
No
your name,
problem.
sorry for this, but in the same time we need to teach them something that is in our background, something in our history. Again, is people management. Always is not correct and is not wrong. Probably we need to find something in the middle for to make a very good concentrate of the communication, but we need also adapt our style to communicate with them in different way. We need to remember them what we have to do some years ago, but probably we need also to understand what is the 2030, no? And this is very important. I don't have the correct ricetta, as I can say, but in my style, I try like this, and I have a very good communication for the young people. I like to listen them. I listen a lot of them, and when I can, I give also some suggestion from my part.
So mentoring is the way forward, yeah?
Yeah, totally agree. Mentoring is because you know also the fellow, no, the wizard and the fellow. To the final, from my point of view, the mentoring is the most important thing that we need to. In Italy, probably in England more, but in Italy, in the Mediterranean, Europe of Mediterranean is not totally used, the mentoring. But example, in our association, European Hotel Manager Association, we are 425 general managers in Europe. One of the best work, best practice that we have is mentoring a mentee. And they work very well, but also in some company, they develop this. Now I have seen that a big company like Marriott is implementing a lot regarding the wizard with the fellow, and there are a specific program for to make mentoring and mentee. And this is a good direction for to make a communication with the young generation from my point of view.
Totally agree with you. Alessandra, back to you.
Oh, thank you. So in this scenario of young generation, and I just wanted to ask to all three of you your point of view on millennials, Instagram likes, traveling for pleasure, leisure, bleisure, and have obviously the Instagram like we were saying before with Palmiro. What are you taking? What are you taking onto this type of things? Marjolaine or James?
You want always me to start? I said I have to say I am not a social media person. So yes, I use Instagram. You are. I use the Instagram and the Facebook and the LinkedIn for more for business than for personal. Except the Facebook, yes, and at least Instagram, I can see my friends. You know, it was very good during the confinement times that we had some way of communication other than the videos, of course. I think, I mean, if I remember years ago, I think that social media was more, I don't know, I don't want to say it is like a show off, but I think, you know, that people wanted to say that they were staying in this luxury 5-star resort, or they were having dinner in an amazing restaurant, which as now today, I think it more comes to putting a picture of doing a barbecue in your garden. Or I have seen just a few days ago a picture of actually, you know, finally 2 people coming together in an event, hugging. So I think the whole scenario in social media, to my point of view, is completely shifting.
I agree with you, because what it is, it's about authenticity. It's not just about the destination. It's like showing some kind of emotion at the destination. It's almost like having fun or tasting something for the first time and it tastes terrible, and having that look on your face in the photo with the big cathedral or food market behind you in the background. So I think that you're absolutely right like that. It's much more about the emotion, authentic part of the experience than, you know, a postcard, as it was in my day when I first started traveling. Everybody said, send the postcard, and I'd have to find a post office. But
right.
and it was just the picture of the cathedral. So, you know, we've moved from that kind of like produced image to a more real image. And social media is huge for younger travelers, you know.
That's for sure.
It's the way they do it. And it's got, like you say, you know, it's got the smiles and the emotion built into it.
Yeah.
Indeed, it has. Palmiro?
No, I agree. I agree with this internal communication, employee engagement is the key. I think that is the key, especially on the hospitality sector. because when you work with the service is the most important thing. And I repeat that also the corporate social responsibility and the sustainability to create this culture is very, very important for us and for the young generation. We need to work all together. We need to be a big team, and also in the team with the different competence, different character, but also with different different age can bring and to have a best team to make big project, from my point of view.
Thank you very much. There is another question coming through. I just wanted to ask, blurring the line between what is business and what is leisure can have positive or negative effect. What are you taking on that, James?
Sorry, can you repeat that?
Blurring the line between what is business trip, what is a business trip, or what is a leisure trip can have positive or negative effect. What are you taking, your takes on that?
I suppose the positive can be that if it's primarily a business trip, then the deal gets done and everybody's happy, or somebody learns something and they're better informed, you know, and that's the positive side from that. But that can be done in a conference room. It can be done in a webinar like this, or it could be done on a golf course, or watching a football match. I mean, the ways of doing business are so varied, you know, the way we learn is so varied. So, I mean, there can be positive impacts. And I think from a negative point of view, there can be a waste of resource, depending on, you know, things that aren't well planned and the framework's too wide and the budget's too big. And, you know, why did you take that client to a Premier League football match that cost you £2,000 for a ticket, and he signed a £100 deal? You know, I mean, so we've got to have some kind of, you know, idea of why we you know, what's the objective of this exercise, and what are the resources, and what's my return on investment?
Thank you very much for that. Do we have any more questions from the panel? Stefano?
I don't think we have any more questions.
Oh, thank you very much.
Time, actually.
Okay, so if there are no more questions, we can move on to a close. And I would
Alessandra, can I say something, please?
Sure, okay.
I would like to take this opportunity to promote this event that we have in Rome with the Media Hotel Radio Christmas Awards that we have the 15th December in Rome, and I take this opportunity for invite my colleague speaker and also Stefano and you. If you can save your agenda and if you pass from Italy for Rome, it's a big pleasure to receive you in Rome, the 15th December.
Oh, thank you very much. Much appreciated.
The voice of hospitality.
Oh, that's good. That's an event not to be missed. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much.
So great. Thank you all for your participation. We appreciate you being with us today. And thank you again for attending today Virtual Lounge debate. Many thanks to our speakers, James Morgan, Marjolaine DIOGO da Silva, Palmiro NOSCHESE, for participating to this debate and giving us their insight within the bleisure, MICE and travel industry. We encourage all of the attendees from our participant to connect with us on social media. And if you need any more information in regards to the topics that we have discussed, please do get in contact with myself, Alessandra Lumina, associateinternational.com, or CONFASSOCIAZIONI UK, Stefano Portotti. Once more, a special thanks to CONFASSOCIAZIONI President Angelo Diana of CONFASSOCIAZIONI UK, Stefano POTORTI, for the opportunity offered by the CONFASSOCIAZIONI today. And Stefano, over to you for a few words to conclude the event.
Thank you very much. I'll be very, very quick. Basically, thank you to you, Alessandra, because you've done an amazing job organizing this, putting this amazing panel together. A big thanks to everybody, because what you brought so far has been amazing, very interesting, in line with the current situation. It's been extremely practical. So this is what we like when we do these CONFASSOCIAZIONI lounge. We want to have practical tips from people who are living the industry, who are familiar with the issues, with the opportunities, and so on. So thanks again. I hope to have you again in our virtual lounge, because the topic is extremely important to us, and we would like to carry on with something a few months' time, probably in the new year. Thanks again. Thank you to the attendees, and I'll see you definitely soon with new topics.
Thank you all. Hope you enjoyed, and a goodbye from me to you all. Thank you.